Paul George, man, they can't have babies out of their mouth, King.
OneRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app.
What's up, everybody out there, and welcome to another edition of Court Vision, brought to you as usual by War Room Sports in conjunction with Sports Kings. I'm here at the round table this evening. I'm Devin McMillan. At the round table with me, we got Andy Flint of Sports Kings.
NBA fans, I urge you to quit hiding Chris Paul and acting like he ain't the third best player in the NBA.
Talk to him.
You know that. We got B. Austin of War Room Sports.
Yo, Sixers front office. Honestly, if I see you on the streets, it's about who see who first, man. There's a way to have some respect and some honor about this thing of ours, man. So, yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to win, but I'm definitely going to sucker punch you, and then we'll go from there.
All right, then we got Frank Santos of Sports Kings.
I just want to say I'm glad JW the Blueprint is not in the building because he's got a monopoly on the plus-size ladies every day. So I just want to take some time and say we love the plus-size ladies too. It's not just Jimmy, so add us.
Plus size.
Fat girls got their gushy wishy.
The gushy wishy. All right. We'll talk to you guys for a little while about a few NBA topics as the season wraps up, as it winds down. Not exactly wrapping up just yet. But the first thing I heard, fellas, that there was a catfishing story out there. You know, I don't know if it's Manti Te'o Part 2.
His girlfriend.
Right. What happened with your boy Paul George, man?
All right, so here's the quick rundown for those of you who don't know the story. Apparently, Paul George was sending some promiscuous rated R pictures to what he thought was an attractive female, but apparently it is a male who
A donkey puncher.
who not only he's a homosexual male, but not only is he that, but I guess for a living, this is what he does, or this is what he takes pride in as a hobby, is he gets people to send him pictures of their, private parts when they think he's a girl. But apparently Paul George says that it's some chick that he knows, and it's not this dude. So
yeah, all right, Paul.
That's the story there.
Yeah, all right. My take on Paul George, man. I love Paul George's game. He's a very good basketball player. Jumped on the scene last season, especially in the playoffs, did his thing. But I don't know, with all the things that's come out about him so far this season, I'm not sure that Paul George is ready for superstardom just yet. He's already impregnated a stripper. And, now he's getting catfished by gay dudes. Like, Paul, you got to slow down, man. He must, before he became famous, he must have been, yamless. Because he's just out of control right now. He'll fall for anything.
Not a yam farmer.
Yeah, he needs Roy Hibbert to start dropping 30 and 15 so he can go to that second role and just kind of fall back a little bit. You know what else is these NBA locker rooms need Wilt to just come in and just show him the rope. You need a little class with Wilt. He can show you how it's done.
Yeah, they need magic. That's,
he need magic to give him a trip, take him on a little trip to the Forum Club.
I feel bad even saying that.
Paul, everybody has given their 2 cents. I'm going to be honest, man, Paul. We at War Room Sports run a mentorship program for professional athletes. It's called the Big Brothers, War Room Sports Big Brothers and Surrogate Pop Association. And I can show you, how to be reasonably cool. Not a dude with swag, because we don't do the swag thing. You already in a swag situation. Secretly, we are gay. But how you can handle your money, how you can get yams and stay cool and focused. While
doing the right thing at the same time.
Doing the right things, because right now you're not doing the right things. You're getting strippers pregnant. You offering them millions of dollars, which is what they wanted in the first place. You're getting fished by gays. It's just come on, man. Yo, reach out. War Room Sports, we got you.
He needs Danny Granger back. He needs his mentor back.
He needs to quit hanging out with Lance. Because these are Lance
moves. That's probably it. Lance is a bad influence.
Could be Lance.
These are Lance moves. This is Lance on his shoulder. The angel's gone. It's just Lance. Don't listen, Paul.
Yo, you know what though?
Lance
Y'all are
probably,
joking. Y'all are
Lance probably
clowning.
hit the Angel with an air ball.
Y'all are clowning, but that's actually
Crossed
true.
them up.
Like that's actually true. When you're a New York City high school superstar, you're used to yams, you're used to groupies. So Lance was prepared for all of this. Like Paul George comes from, I don't know where he comes from, but he don't come from a place where he's able to handle.
From California somewhere.
Yeah, like he's not ready.
He grew up on,
Basically, end of story. Paul George needs more people.
We don't believe you.
Exactly.
We don't believe you.
All right, so while we are talking about mediocrity, I think we should address B. Austin in my hometown, Philadelphia 76ers.
You said mediocrity. You're not mediocre.
Yeah, they've created a new low as far as tanking is concerned. Okay, we all know that the 76ers are doing everything they can to assure that they're going to get, a high draft pick, that they're going to have money to spend, when next season comes. But like B. Austin was saying in the intro, there's some pride that you can have while tanking, if tanking is what you choose to do. I say all the time, like, I think that somebody in the organization probably misunderstands the whole ping pong ball thing. I think that they think margin of defeat has something to do with how many ping pong balls you get. It seems like anybody who could score in double figures, they released them or traded them. It's just I don't think they had to strip the team to the bare bones to lose games. You guys weren't that good of a roster in the first place. So you didn't really have to strip the team down to bare bones to lose these games. But now that they've tied the record of 26 straight losses in the season, it's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. Like, I found the whole thing funny at first, but
it ain't funny no more.
Do you think they're trying to make way, though, for, like, the younger guys, by getting rid of the Evan Turners and things of that nature to say, hey,
Evan Turner is a younger guy.
But I'm saying, yeah, but they obviously didn't want him anymore, I think, was the issue. So with, like, an MCW saying, hey, you're the leader of this team now. But, I mean, Evan Turner was probably trying to take people's lunch money in the locker room. So
I think that's part of it, but when you trade those people for Henry Sims and Byron Mullins and then give them like 20, 25 minutes a game, I think that kind of, negates, I think that goes more towards what Dev's saying. Like, yeah, you could trade Evan Turner and just play the guys you had for 40 minutes a game.
That's
but
when
you give it Henry Sims is like leading your team in rebounding, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, there's no younger guys besides MCW on the team worth looking at that'll, he's probably the only one who's going to be back next year. They sign guys to 10-day contracts that never heard of themselves.
There's no doubt
Thaddeus Young.
I mean, I'm not trying to debate whether or not they're trying to lose. They're definitely trying to lose, but I think at the same time it was lose and clear out some stock that we don't care about anymore.
I think that you gentlemen are really, with your respected basketball minds and acumen, are trying to make sense of a cluster F. And let's be clear here. They're signing guys. There was a guy by the name of Casper Ware that was signed to a 10-day contract. And shout out to Casper Ware, because you're living out your dreams.
Casper had a half-court shot last night.
Of 20,000 Sixer fiends, but I'm going to shout out to Pusha T. You see how I did that. I just want to be clear. Like Casper Ware, if you look Casper Ware up, he was playing in a pro-am, like a YMCA league overseas. He wasn't playing in FIBA Division 1. He wasn't playing in FIBA Division 2. He was playing in like FIBA Division 3, which any of the four of us could take 6 months and get in shape and play. Like he was playing in that. He's 5'10", and he's known as a defensive specialist. So if you're known as a defensive specialist in the YMCA Pro-Am League, how are you getting a 10-day contract with an NBA franchise? James Nunali, he's another dude, 6'8" shooter that can do nothing but shoot threes. Like he literally has no value. Listen.
And who is Jarvis Fernando?
Yo, Jarvis Fernando. These guys don't know themselves. They don't know who they are. Like,
Brandon Davies is not.
I don't know. I
knew that this segment about tanking was going to be about the Sixers for you guys, but Yo, shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks. How can you be competing against a team that has a 26-game losing streak and you still have a 2-game lead on them for the worst record? Yo, that takes. Yo, shout out to Brandon Knight. Shout out to OJ Mayo. You keep shooting those 30 jumpers a game. I'm not mad at you.
I don't even think they were trying to tank. I think
I think Milwaukee's just bad. Like,
Frank, they're putting a more competitive product out on the court. See, that's my problem. I don't mind the losing. I don't mind 26, but 26 losses in a row. It happens. Records are meant to be broken, but not in the way that we're not trying.
Losing by 38.
They're signing us. If we show up at the Sixers office and have a decent workout and can hit 20 shots in a row, we can make the roster. That's ridiculous. There's no respect.
Fellas,
plus, Milwaukee has the Greek Freak they can watch every night too.
Are you guys fans of the movie Major League?
Absolutely.
I like Major League.
Okay, this is starting to remind me of Major League. It's like if the Sixers scored 10 points in a row, like they're going to take away their bus. They're going to be riding in a propeller plane because we're coddling these guys too much. It's like any signs of anything positive, the front office makes sure they go and make a move.
And cut a guy that did that positive thing to make sure they replace him.
So the one thing that we're getting at that I always want to clarify for people is like, yo, tanking is like a front office decision. Like it's not the players. The players on the court are actually trying to win a game. But it's like it's when the front office signs like Henry.
Right, they can't.
And they say play 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
No, you're being set up to fail. I mean, it's
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
the worst part is they're not even going to end up with the first pick. You watch. They'll end up with the worst record.
Oh,
and
not
not get the first pick.
I hope not.
Adam Silver already cut the check. Phil Knight cut the check. Los Angeles Lakers #1 pick.
They probably will.
Now, real quick before we do move off of this topic, like, say they don't get the #1 pick, you know, I mean, but even if they do, like, do you guys think? Because we know where the hype was prior to the season starting and prior to the college season starting. But do you guys still believe that there are players in this draft that's worth all of this attention that quote-unquote tanking teams are giving them right now?
Absolutely.
Yes, and they are not named Parker or Wiggins.
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and Andy
I think they have other
been on a
names.
crusade to let people know how different the NBA game is from college. And Wiggins will be just fine in the NBA.
I think they're all going to be fine.
It's made for players like him.
Yeah, Wiggins was he was unfortunate to get a case of Bill Selfism, aka having a bad coach that doesn't know how to play offense. So like when the team's playing his own, you don't space the floor. What's going to happen is everybody's going to basically key in on your best player, and then he's not going to have a chance to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
So I mean that was really Wiggins' problem. But
And, you know, college is more.
I mean,
of a
to your point, I do.
fundamental
I mean, it's so tough to say. Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a prospect that's going to be worth it. But I mean, I definitely think a lot of the guys have potential. Embiid scares me a little bit because big guys with injury issues are always a risk. But everybody seems to think he's the best player.
And big guys who just learned to play basketball. It's kind of scary.
The big X factor to me is Exum, Dante Exum I believe he's out of Australia, or I think it's Australia. But he's the X factor. I think he could be the best player. But those foreign guys, you really never know what they're going to be. But yeah, I mean. The other thing with the Sixers, the other tanking thing with the Sixers is Nerlens Noel is like ready to play. He's like, yo, put me on the court. And they're like, nah, you could fall back. You could check.
You might get us 2 wins and mess up the whole season.
Don't get it twisted. I definitely like Parker. I think that he's going to be a primetime baller in the league. I'm still, jury's kind of out for me on Wiggins, and it's not his athleticism that I'm concerned about, and I know the difference between the college and the pro game kind of fits his athleticism. I question his aggressiveness. Like, my question is, does he have the aggressive nature to be what people think? He has the athleticism, hands down. But I like to look at Embiid, Exum, Randall, and I'm gonna pull a name out the hat. I'm gonna pull one out. I know McDermott.
Oh, Dougie McBucket.
Shimmer McDermott?
Yeah. He's 6'8". He's going to teach y'all how to Dougie, I'm telling you.
As far as aggression goes, I'm I mean, LeBron James doesn't necessarily have an aggressive nature.
KD.
He's the best player in the NBA. So, I don't know. I just think the game is more structured for, Wiggins' skill set. You got the 24-second clock, instead of the longer clock in college. The action moves a little bit faster. It's not so structured. He's not going to face a lot of zones. Even though
Can't camp in the paint.
Yeah, so,
I think Wiggins was also unfortunate that everybody thought he was going to be like the next LeBron James, coming into Kansas, and then when they figured out like he's just a really good player, he's not a legend. Like LeBron James was the first pick from the moment he stepped on the court when he was like a freshman in high school. People were like, this guy's going to be the first pick. So when like Wiggins kind of looked similar to Parker and similar to Embiid as far as like talent goes, all of a sudden I think people started devaluing Wiggins because they were expecting something that they didn't get. I don't even know what they were expecting. They're probably
expecting too much. Is what
he doesn't have complete game. I mean, Parker and Embiid too both have more complete game. Julius Randle, I think B. Austin brought him up. He's going to be a beast as well. I still like Marcus Smart. Shout out to Marcus Smart.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Marcus Smart.
I think there's a lot of very, very good players. I just don't know if there's I don't know if there's like 3 to 5 franchise-changing players like everybody thinks there is. I think probably one or two.
I think there's 3 to 5. To your point, I think that Randall and Smart are the most NBA ready right now to enter the game.
I can agree with that.
I mean, in hindsight, obviously the last tank-worthy draft was the 2003 draft, but like I said, that's hindsight.
Right.
Who knew Dwayne Wade was going to be, what he is? But I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll be having this conversation again in a few years, and when my Sixers are in the finals,
Shout out to Darko.
What we're gonna say? So.
No, question for you guys: is this tank job going to affect MCW's ability to claim that Rookie of the Year award?
Absolutely. I think without question it has to.
It might.
There's no way you can give the Rookie of the Year to a team
from a messed up team. So.
But they're going to say the same thing we were saying, Frank. You're the one that pointed it out. I mean, tanking isn't the player's fault. I think the voters are going to probably take that into consideration. I mean, you do have a point though.
I just don't see how they can give it to a team that's lost 26 in a row. What I mean? Like that's tough. And like you're right. Like I did say it wasn't the player's fault, and it's not. But as far as how it looks, what I mean. But if you have a team that sets the streak for the most losses in a row, it's hard to give a Rookie of the Year to a guy on that team.
Well, that's fair.
I think Oladipo will win it. To be honest, I think Oladipo is probably going to be the Rookie of the Year.
It's MCW in my mind.
All right. Well, Frank didn't want him to get it in the first place. So.
Yo, you can still book that flight to Turkey, MCW.
Frank's still hating.
But no, this time he might be booking that flight to Turkey by choice. Like, I don't want to play with these dudes.
They'll retire your jersey over there. All you got to do is drop 50 like one time.
All right, well, look. All right, let's go from Rookie of the Year to the MVP race. But we're going to do this a little differently. We're going to just act like LeBron James and Kevin Durant were never born. So with those guys out of the picture, we don't know who they are. We never heard of them. Who's the MVP of the NBA this season?
Easy. Joakim. Shout out to Joakim, followed by Bam Bam out there in Clipperland.
I don't believe that.
Joakim and Bam Bam.
I understand what Noah, I understand his impact and what he's doing, but I don't think I subscribe to all the Joakim Noah for MVP talk.
Me
I don't
neither.
subscribe to that. I don't know what it is. Probably
Blake Griffin and Joakim for me.
Hey,
those are the two.
MVP can't go to a hustle man. That's just not right.
Man, disrespect. Yo, I also get. You call him a hustle man. Dude, he's good. He's putting up triple doubles. You call him a hustle man.
I'm. His numbers are eye popping sometimes because he was one of those players. I mean, it must be a Florida thing. He was like the Tim Tebow of basketball. People are like, this guy. He wins and he hustles, but in the NBA, he's not going to really do anything. And then he comes out and. Sometimes he's putting up eye-popping numbers, but I mean, it's not like they're going down to him in the paint to take over the team.
My man has no
He's
skills.
a garbage man that's in the MVP race, and I just don't subscribe to it.
So I would also go Joakim Noah, like B. Austin. I would also say Blake is probably fourth. But two names I want to mention that I think really deserve an honorable mention. Goran Dragic, I think, is a serious MVP candidate for what he's done to the Suns. And also Al Jefferson. Yeah, Al Jefferson's got the Bobcats contending, and they look good. He is something else. Like they just. I never realized how many moves Al Jefferson. Like I always knew he had. He was a good player.
His footwork is amazing.
He's got so many moves, and he can hit the mid range.
Yeah, he like the big nose Kevin McHale.
And now he's playing defense now because the Bobcats are one of the best defensive teams in the league, even though they
small forwards.
Ron and Carmelo. Yeah, right. Even though Ron and Carmelo did work on him. And they don't turn the ball over. They had the least turnovers in the league per game.
Kemba Walker's showing up, but.
Yeah, I would say Al Jefferson, Goran Dragic, but I would also go Joakim. I think he definitely deserves the third place.
Andy.
I'm with Devin. I have no time for Joakim Noah. I don't know what to tell you.
Disrespect.
I think he's a great player. I don't think he's. I don't think he's MVP.
I will go the rest of the Bulls roster, like who he's playing with.
Absolutely, but they're not. I mean, they're not that bad. They're
defense
coached well.
Will keep them in it.
The defense is in there. I mean, he's averaging about 12 and 11, 12 and 10.
But they only score 35 points a game.
Blake Griffin is ahead of him. I would go probably Blake third, which I never would have felt like I would have said that at the beginning of the season. And I honestly want to give a little love to somebody who I don't really give love to very often, James Harden.
Yes.
I think, he's done a terrific job. I feel like him coexisting with Dwight the way he has, even though, bringing in a piece like Dwight Howard is hard for a guy who scores a lot, I think. So the way he's dealt with that, he's still, one of the highest scoring players in the league. He averages about 5 and 5 with the rebounds and the assists. And the Rockets are good. I mean, so that and Goran Dragic was another one I had, Frank. I think that's a good call. He'll never get it.
No,
he can't even get an All-Star berth. So
he'll never even get mentioned in the top 5. I think I saw NBA.com had mentioned Noah, Blake, and Harden. So
you know what happened, Andy? Was Steve Nash ruined the white point guard MVP because the backlash that got. Nobody's ever going to give it to a white guy.
But he's not Steve Nash either. Nothing close to it.
Yeah, he's a scoring guy. Yo, shout out to you, Andy, for bringing up James Harden. I can't give James my MVP because he's another one of those. I'm gonna just go over to the bench and sit down on defense type of dude. But for what he brings offensively. I mean, it's amazing because not only is he a scorer, he has such a feel for the game as a playmaker that it's kind of like a Manu 2.0 thing because there are times when he can slide into the complete playmaker role and get you 5 or 6 assists in a game as a passer on that utilizing that pick and roll. So I think that he's definitely in my MVP. Top 10, I would say Paul George, although he's fallen probably to 10th, if not 11th. I'll mention Paul George, and then I'll go Steph Curry from our other perimeter.
That's a good one. You also got to deduct James Harden because of his fashion choices, all those post-game outfits.
Yeah, but then we got to deduct like half the league, too. Then KD's out of there, too.
There would be no... Yeah, there would
I just want to say Chris Paul's name. Even though he missed a good chunk of time, he's still balling.
For what? For what?
All right, so for me, like I said... Speaking on everybody who likes to say Joakim Noah's name in this category, I respect what he does. Like I really do. I respect what he does. He's the kind of guy who likes to do what he has to do to get it done. But come on, y'all.
Yo, stop putting him in the category with Reggie Evans.
I'm not even like that. But 12 and 11.
He is like a Reggie Evans in a Ferrari.
Yeah, seriously, 12 and 11 MVP. Like, come on, man, FOH.
How many assists does he average per game, though?
5,
14, 12, 11, and 5.
As a center,
12
the shooting
11,
percentage is probably way up there.
12, 11, and 5.
The last center that put up those
shooting percentage better be up there. He gets rebounds and putbacks.
Can we see the suit he was wearing, though? I can't.
I can't bang with that. But Blake Griffin for me, would be the MVP. If those other two guys that we won't speak of didn't exist. Like I said, I'm not really a numbers guy because actually I think Blake Griffin could actually stand to get his rebounds up because he's not even averaging 10 right now. He's like 9.8, 24 and a half points. But this is a guy who not only, us, because we definitely criticized him in the beginning of the year. He had a lot of criticism throughout the country, throughout the league. The soft title had got put on him.
Mm-hmm.
He gets tested every other night. He probably still can't fight, but he took that aggression and that anger and just took it out on everybody on the basketball court. His game has definitely gone to a new level. Like, our criticism of him was that he hadn't gotten any better. He was a good player, a very good player, but he hadn't gotten any better since he came into the league. But, now, I used to say he dribbled too much. His handle got a little better. He does the little thing where he gets the ball in the post and then starts going through his leg. I never really understood that, but, he's doing better at it.
He likes to bring the ball up, too. After he gets a rebound, he can bring the ball all the way up and just create his own offense from there.
Yeah, and a guy with such athleticism, though, that's why I said he could stand to get his rebounds up a little bit. I mean, he averaged about 12 in his rookie season. So, I mean, if he could take it back to that, even with those other two guys in the mix, he would have a chance. But
I think that some of it is Jordan, though. Jordan's rebounding, too. But I think people didn't really – I don't think people actually respected his athleticism as much as they do now the first year. So he was just jumping over people, getting boards. But it did. It went from like 12 to 10 to under 10. So you're right.
So he would be my guy.
I think what this really boils down to, viewers, and what Devin is really trying to say is that Blake Griffin listens to the War Room and reads SportsTeam.com.
Absolutely.
He took that criticism as constructive. He listened to what we had to say, and he added to his game.
So he can't. That's all he can do.
He's been a benefactor.
What else is he going to do?
He's been a benefactor of the War Room Sports, Big Brothers, and surrogate pop program. Blake Griffin is a testimonial. He'll tell you.
Blake Griffin, you could get a $50 referral fee if you bring Paul George aboard.
You know what though, Frank and Andy, dead serious. We also want to take credit for the improvement of Mike Conley Jr.
Real rap, like real.
We often used to rip him on the show, and I don't know if he listened or somebody told him, but he tweeted about it and told B. Austin that he was gonna, I'm gonna show you. And
yeah,
he had a better season
B. Austin, you gotta get that kickback. Cut the check, Mike Conley.
Like, this season is quiet, but he's actually leading that team in scoring this season, which is not really a good thing when your point guard leads you in scoring.
He's a nice player.
But Memphis is back in the mix, like I told you guys earlier in the season, that they were going to make it. My other promise was that the Knicks were going to make it. They still have some work to do. So let's talk about that, fellas. Let's talk about first-round playoff matchups that, not the ones that it looks like we're destined to see, unless that's your pick, but what playoff matchups would you like to see in the first round of the NBA playoffs?
I'll start. We talked about a couple of those teams. The one I want to see is the Grizzlies go against the Clippers again. I think it'd be a huge test for Blake Griffin and how far he's come if he can kind of beat Zach Randolph in a 7-game series, like outperform him in a 7-game series.
That's his real test.
If he can avoid getting bitch slapped.
And I think it would be a great test for the Clippers because I think the Grizzlies, and I've been saying this all season, even when they were out of the playoff race, I think the Grizzlies can beat anybody in the Western Conference. They probably won't go to the NBA Finals, but I think in a 7-game series, 1 through 8, the Grizzlies could beat anybody.
You can't sleep on them. You can't sleep on them. For myself, I was kind of, thinking, I kind of hope Dallas gets back into the mix. I'm not sure if they can really do any damage, but I would actually like to see a first-round matchup where Dallas maybe goes against Oklahoma City. I don't think they could last with the Spurs just because their makeup, as far as size-wise, isn't, it isn't one to go up against the Spurs. But I think Dallas could possibly give Oklahoma City a good run in a playoff matchup. I recently was down in Dallas and got to see them play up close. Besides the to steal a phrase from Michael Jordan when he was talking about Vince Carter back in the day, besides the criminal negligence of Vince Carter and Monta Ellis on the defensive end, that team is a no-quit, grinded out type of team. But watching those two guys play defense is definitely comical at best. So I don't know. Even if they did, get up that far to play Oklahoma City, watching Kevin Durant handle Vince Carter, it might be ugly. But I'd like to see that.
I don't know, for the Eastern Conference, I actually want to see Brooklyn play any of the top 4 seeds.
So you want them to just go ahead and drop down so they can get the Eagle on.
Get the Eagle on, yeah. I want to see Brooklyn play because, number one, I want to be right about my preseason predictions, and I like to be right, which I usually am. But I really think that this. So if they're gonna be Geritol, if they're gonna be old, and they really are past prime, then they'll go away. But if they have anything left in the tank, any fumes, even if it's pride, you've got some monsters, reputation-wise and history-wise on that team that are capable of giving cats problems and trouble. And maybe for a 7-game series, they can tap into that and make something happen because they look like they're jumping.
I think they're gonna get their chance. I'm actually really interested in Brooklyn series as it stands right now. That 4-5 matchup between Chicago and Brooklyn, I think would be a pretty good series. And I can't see Chicago, like you said, scoring 35 points a game as a team, coming out victorious. So I do think Brooklyn is going to eventually get their shot at one of those top teams. So I think we're going to end up seeing that. And I
would like to see it. In the West, I want to see the Dubs. I want to see the Dubs play Portland. I want to see the Warriors play Portland.
I'd like to see the Knicks swap with Atlanta or Charlotte and play Miami or Indiana in the first round.
For what?
No, I'm done with the Knicks.
Because it's not as boring as Atlanta.
It has some. At least it has some star power, if anything.
I would actually rather see the Cavs. I would rather see the Cavs in the playoffs.
The Kyries,
Yeah, I would like to see Kyrie come back. I'd like to see Kyrie in a playoff series finally. I think that'd be more exciting than watching the Knicks.
We'll see some fancy dribbling.
Yeah, I feel like Kyrie might drop like 45 in a playoff game. I mean, the Cavs will probably lose in 5, but I think they might be able to steal one on just like a crazy Kyrie game.
It could happen. I want to see. I guess I was gonna say the Bulls and the Nets too, which that's kind of already sitting there in place right now. I think that could have the makings of like a gritty first round series between a couple of teams that ain't gonna win the East.
Thank you guys. As a Net fan, like the Bulls terrify me. I don't even want to see.
I mean,
I'd rather play the Heat.
Playing for anything, anyways. I mean, you're playing just to get out of that round. That's it. So it doesn't matter.
Chill on that.
And the one I really want to see of all of them is I want to see. B. Austin just said the something about the Warriors a second ago. I'd like to see the Warriors play Houston, and that could like almost happen. Actually, I mean that's kind of close as it stands right now. I think that would be a fast, high-scoring, exciting first-round series.
Games would be on.
I would watch that. Star power.
The game slows down in the playoffs. That would not happen in a Houston and Golden State series.
It's going to come down to 3-point shooting and running as fast as you can down the court.
You have to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning to watch it.
Yeah, that's the one I like. And that is the drawback is having to stay up late to watch the thing. Right. But I feel like any good series is going to be a late series because it's going to be. But yeah, it's going to be all West Coast stuff. I mean, for the most part, I'm interested in watching the series the Clippers play.
I think that my man Steph Curry would shoot the naps out of Patrick Beverley's hair.
Patrick Beverley is dead. He tore his meniscus.
Another interesting series that in the East, I think, is Toronto and Washington. I think they're two very evenly matched teams that are both.
I don't know.
I think they're both inexperienced in the playoffs, and they both have exciting players. I would like to see Kyle Lowry go against John Wall for 7 games. I think that'd be exciting.
I forgot those two teams are even making it.
But I think
Toronto's going to be the 3 seed.
Toronto's going to be the 3 seed, and Washington's probably going to be the 6. I think that'd be a very good series.
So yeah, that's definitely going to be a good point guard matchup though.
It'll be hilarious though, because the first time Toronto gets in the playoffs, like in a good position, in how long, and they're going to lose to the Wizards.
Yeah, that would be nuts. Them losing to the Wizards, and another name you got to mention in that would be DeMar DeRozan, because quiet is kept. He's turning himself into a decent NBA star. Like he's more than just a flying out of the sky type guy. He's got J work. He's finishing left hand, right hand. He's doing some things. So him and Kyle Lowry. Then they got the dude that comes off of the bench, I believe. Terrence
Ross. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He goes for 50 and then 8.
Yeah,
Canada. As a collective, Air Canada. No more Vince Carter. So.
And then he goes into a hole for like a month, and then
he does. Game 1, 5 points. Game 2, 60. Game 3, 8. That's going to be his stat line.
All right, so those are some of the potential first-round matchups that we'd like to see. We all know what matchup you guys out there are waiting for, that potential Eastern Conference matchup. If somebody chokes and doesn't make it there, it's going to be sad and funny at the same time, because we're not really going to want to watch whatever else we have to watch.
Turn down the heat. Turn down the heat.
You guys already know how I feel. I'm worried about those Pacers.
Yeah.
Very worried.
I'd be worried about them.
I think the Pacers are going to step it up come playoff time. I think they will. And it's hard for me to admit that Roy Hibbert is actually good, because he is, but it's hard for me to admit that. I watched him come into Georgetown as somebody who could barely walk.
And he couldn't walk. Roy Hibbert was slew-footed. He could not walk on his own. They had to teach him how to walk, then how to run, then how to dribble. Like, it sounds funny, but it's actually true. Like, dude, he couldn't walk.
He's a giant.
Yeah, but now his footwork is nasty. I'm like, man, get that from.
Yeah.
But everybody
he only gets to do it 3 times a game.
True. But everybody out there in front of the screen, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, and definitely leave comments. Let us know your opinions on everything that we talked about today. What's your thoughts on Paul George getting catfished, and Paul George getting strippers pregnant, and Paul George just plumb straight up not being able to handle superstardom. He can't handle superstardom right now. Let us know what you think about the tank job, the prideless tank job, the shameless tank job by the Philadelphia 76ers, and even more than that, let us know your thoughts on the Milwaukee Bucks, the fact that we think they've been trying, and they're still worse than the Sixers. Give us your MVP. If LeBron James and Kevin Durant never existed, who would be your MVP this season? So basically, give us who you have in third place right now, and let us know some of the playoff matchups that you'd like to see in the first round. The NBA season is winding down. For Andy, Frank, and B. Austin, I'm Devin. This has been another episode of Court Vision, brought to you, of course, by War Room Sports in conjunction with Sports Kings. Check them out at sports-kings.com. Check us out at warroomsports.com. Like we always tell you guys, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance. See you, chumps.
On top.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.